Hello, my name is Eric. I'm from Not Networking, and in this video we are going to show you how you can access the configuration files for your Atavism Cloud Server. Right, so to begin with, we need our server information, and to get this, you can go to the dashboard, click on Atavism Cloud Server, click on your Atavism server, and then click on More, Login Details, to have all the information presented to you that you need to access the server via SSH. So if you're using Windows 11 or the latest version of Windows 10, you most likely have SSH built in your Windows terminal already. If you don't, you have to use a program called PuTTY. I will link a download link for PuTTY in the description below. But for me, I will just use Windows Terminal. And we now have to access our server via the SSH protocol. And to do so, it's very easy. All we have to do is type SSH, the username, root, at, and then our server IP. You have it down below here. So it's 164.123.49. And then we just hit enter. And if it's the first time you're connecting to the server via SSH, it's asking you if you want to save the RSA key fingerprint. Just type yes. And then you have to enter the root password, which you can find by clicking here. And then just enter it in. And now we are connected to our Atavism Cloud Server. And if I list our directory, you can see that we have our Atavism server folder right here. So let's exit that. And if I list the directory again, we have more files. So the folder we want to go into is the bin folder. So let's do that. And let's list the directory again. And now you have two config files you can play around with. It's the world.properties and the auth.properties. I will use a text editor called Nano, which is very user friendly. And we just type nano and the file name and hit enter. And here we are inside the configuration file for the authentication server. As you can see, we have the IP, the port it uses, and you can do some changes here. And you can also change, if you change the database password, for example, you have to update it here. The other file is world.properties. And this file holds your license key, your email address, and of course the IP address, the ports, and and the database settings, and the log level, which is very handy if you're trying to debug something. You want to change this to 1, save the file and restart the Atavism server. This will put out much more information in the logs, which is very handy if you're trying to figure out why something's not working. Here you can also change the name for your world server. Let me see if I can find it. Which is this one. It says local. You can change this into anything. You can call this my EU server. And to save, we hold Control, pressing O, and it asks you if you want to write the file. And we click Enter. And you can see right here it says wrote 267 lines. And to exit Nano, we press Ctrl X. And this is how you can log in to the server and change some properties. And one thing I want to show you as well is the quad tree settings, which you should only change if you know what you're doing. And by default they are commented out, but changing these values can sometimes really increase the performance of your server and your client. But like I said, you should not be changing these properties unless you know what you're doing. The other way of entering into your server and changing files around is by using a FTP client like FileZilla. So let's do that. Again, we copy the IP address, paste it in the host. The username is root, and it will always be root on all cloud servers. And then we need a root password and the port 22. We have to accept. And now you can browse the server in a more UI friendly way. Same way it goes here, we go into the Atavism server folder, into the bin folder, and here you have the author properties and the world properties. You can just right click and select edit and then click OK. And now I can edit the file in a more friendly manner instead of using the terminal. And if I change something here, like I'm going to change my EU server back to local, and then I'm saving it, FileZilla will automatically detect the change and ask if you want to upload the file. I'm going to click yes, and now the file has been updated on the server.